This is an emergency action message from potterblog.com. The oximeter you see on my finger may literally save your life during the coronavirus outbreak. Picture that you're sitting in Northern California, Sacramento, San Francisco. Maybe you have a cough, you think you feel some shortness of breath. You're wondering if you've got the coronavirus. Do you go to your local urgent care clinic with the hundreds of other people who are maybe infected with the coronavirus to find out if you need treatment of some sort? Well, with an oximeter like this, you can use telemedicine and determine whether or not you have hypoxia, whether you have a COVID-19 type pneumonia that requires treatment. And that's literally the difference between you get infected with a crowd of people when you didn't need to be infected and having some peace and comfort of mind. So let's get into this a little bit of detail. We purchased 2 of these units. The slightly more expensive one you see that we just had on our finger, it's got a lot of extra data that helps you know that you've got that you're getting good readings, and the slightly less expensive version. This less expensive version, it works well on me, but doesn't necessarily work good on kids or people with small fingers. The other version we've actually tried down on various adults and down to a 3-year-old, and using the extra graphs, we were able to get good readings. So this one, it's cheaper, and while it can be very accurate, is not necessarily good for children. And speaking of accuracy, we base all the information that we're giving you here on 2 research studies. One about the accuracy of 6 inexpensive over-the-counter non-medical use oximeters like the ones I just showed you, and this other one that discusses clinical interpretation of using pulse oximeters labeled not for medical use. And here's a key finding, it's basically the key finding of both of them, but it says this finding suggests that non-medical use pulse oximeters or oximeters may be able to rule out hypoxemia in clinical settings. I also went through, did FDA research on the various oximeters that are out there. So these are the 2 that we picked on purchase out of Amazon. You buy through these links, we get a cut, and that helps us buy more risk mitigation items. But say you need one right now. You know, if I was in San Francisco or Sacramento, I think I'd rush out right now and go to the local Walgreens. Walgreens sells one for $50. While it's not a very feature-filled model, it's been known to be accurate. It's this one right here, their Walgreens brand pulse oximeter. The key thing to note here is that it says OxyWatch C20 on the back. That's the one you want. And as we said, we preferred the device we first showed you, the Innovo Deluxe. It costs about $25 from Amazon. The extra data and graphs on this unit allow us to get accurate readings from children as young as 3 years old and adults. Now here's what one could expect as a prudent person with an oximeter and respiratory symptoms. 1. Using telemedicine, your doctor will be able to rule out a suffocating COVID-19 pneumonia based on the blood oxygen level reading your oximeter provides. You know, oximeter is from the Big Book of Pronunciation. I prefer it over oximeter. But thusly saving your life from a life-threatening trip to a tent city full of infected persons. It says, if your oximeter data confirms life-threatening hypoxia, you will be able to calculate your own risk-reward tolerance for seeking treatment in a crowded isolation ward. 3. If treatment becomes unavailable, there are only in this country, FEMA under the Obama administration had the option to purchase 10,000 all-hazards respirators, but they only bought 1,000 of them. They split them up across the country into 3 sections. So 3 parts of the country have 333 respirators out there. So that's not a lot of people that can be treated in an emergency situation. So if it gets bad, as it appears it might, don't count on going to a concentration healthcare center and getting good treatment. At best, you might get O2. Anyways, If treatment becomes unavailable, the oximeter will allow you to track whether pneumonia is improving or deteriorating, and it can provide feedback on the effectiveness of any home treatments you may try. So persons who do not own an oximeter and seek treatment for cough plus shortness of breath should expect you will be designated as a suspected COVID-19 case. You will be relocated for treatment with other COVID-19 infected individuals. That's already happened in China, and you can expect that it may happen here too. If you didn't have the infection, you will have it after being concentrated with other infected individuals. So here's some key things to know about over-the-counter and prescription oximeters. We spend a lot of time going through these various research studies and actually doing the math and trying to verify what they say. They never give you enough raw data or granularity in the data to 100% verify what they're projecting, but we work with what we got. So first thing you need to know is fingertip oximeters work by shining red and infrared light into your finger. They're painless. 2 research studies confirm that the oximeters can reliably detect hypoxia. The over-the-counter oximeters are most accurate when blood oxygen saturation is greater than 90%. So you're getting right into the border where they have the capability, even the cheaper ones, if used properly. And that's why having those extra graphs helps. If used properly, can tell you if you're getting in a bad situation. An oximeter with plethysmograph, another big word, and perfusion readings will allow you to achieve the most accurate blood oxygen readings. Basically, it helps you gauge finger placement and reading quality. The other thing you need to understand is that almost all oximeters are made in China. Do not expect oximeters to come back on the market until after all 1 billion of China's population has had a chance to buy one. And expect any OTC meters that come available during the outbreak to be of dubious quality. Once people realize how important these things are to keep you out of the tent cities, they will fly off the shelves, and they're not coming in from China. And there haven't been enough made in China for all 1 billion people. So you can expect some low quality after midnight manufacturers popping up to try to kick these things out. So as I said, we did a really deep dive on these studies, and we looked at the FDA information, and we have links to this stuff. You can look it up yourself. What we found is that the research data seems to indicate that a brand name Beijing Choice, in the United States is also known as Choice M-Med, makes over-the-counter units that rival prescription units in accuracy down to 70% blood oxygen saturation. So these devices were matched in the best medical grade oximeters, and they were also testing them against machines that actually physically measure the blood oxygen concentration in a blood sample. So this Beijing Choice brand, aka Choice M-Med, interestingly enough, they make both prescription and over-the-counter oximeters. And the only obvious difference between the units is labeling and price. The prescription ones can be crazy expensive. But I think the only reason they have a labeling difference is for insurance reasons and for federal government reasons. 10. A second Chinese company, Contact, also makes an over-the-counter oximeter that did seemingly favorably in the research data. However, when we went through the FDA's records, indications are that this model was based on a Beijing's Choice model, aka Choice M-Med design. So it looks like they're either a subsidiary of Beijing Choice, or they bought the rights to one model and updated the displays on it, and they've been selling it. The good quality over-the-counter oximeters often cost in the neighborhood of $15 to $30. And compare this to the U.S. military oximeter deployed on the battlefield. It's the Nonin Onyx 2 9550 military fingertip pulsometer. Price of that is probably around $300 prescription, if you can find it. And here's a quick look at that. It's actually an older model, as many things in the military are, but apparently it's extremely accurate and extremely durable. And here's some of their documentation on it. As I said, we'll have a link to that at the bottom of the post. So here's our discussion on this matter. We share the emergency coronavirus risk mitigation actions we've taken. Please don't consider any of the above information to be a recommendation. We do not make recommendations on this site. You need to consider your own risk mitigation decisions based on your own circumstances. We can't risk mitigate for you. That's up to you. The best we can do is tell you what we buy, what we do, and give you the detailed background information so you can understand why we're doing what we're doing. And if you buy through the links that we show you on Amazon, then we get a cut, and that helps us pay for our own risk mitigation items. In that regard, we're going to probably go out and buy a oximeter made specifically for children and see how well it works. Now, obviously, this is a medical device. There is a simple to understand explanation of what pulse oximeters measure and their relation to the coronavirus, and it can be found on Dr. John Campbell's YouTube channel. Here's the link, and here's the actual video. You may recognize him. He goes into really good detail, not on the technical background of these things and which ones are the best, but on how they're used in a medical environment to be helpful. Now, the other thing we'll let you know is that we load ours with Energizer AAA lithium batteries. We use those lithium batteries because they're lightweight, they don't leak, they don't corrode, and they should power an oximeter for approximately over 100 hours of use. Now, we've made plenty of other coronavirus risk mitigation actions. There's a link to some of the ones we've made here. You can follow that. And as promised, all of our source data is available here. So let me end it by saying, pray. This could be very bad. Hopefully it won't be. Hopefully the president's right and it'll calm down by spring. But if it does that, it'll be back next fall. This device has a capability, we believe, of being a Darwinian discriminator to save your life, to give you information that will allow you to make accurate decisions. What you do with it is up to you.